When you hear the term superhero, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? For me, it's Spider-Man because he's my favorite comic book character and superhero of all time. For many others, it's Batman. Now with the MCU having taken off after these 11 plus years, you could hear Iron Man or Captain America, Hulk, even Black Widow. But there's one name I guarantee you will hear more often than any other, especially among people who have no idea what we say when we mean MCU, have any idea about comic book history, lore, anything. That name is Superman. And the truth is, they're not wrong. Superman is the granddaddy of superheroes. If we didn't have Superman, I can almost guarantee you we wouldn't have Batman. We wouldn't have Spider-Man or Iron Man, the X-Men, Captain America, Black Widow, Black Panther. All these characters probably wouldn't exist. Comic books would still be considered kid things, which, let's be honest, some people still do view them that way. But comics would be filled with murder mysteries, or war stories, or love stories. Blech. It's because of Superman, the comics have become what they are, and we flock to the movies, and it's $1 billion interest. But I'll be honest, I'm not really a fan of Superman. Now, that's not to say I don't like him. I love Smallville and how they focus on the Clark Kent aspect of that character, him coming into his powers, forming these relationships. We really don't get to see him as Superman at all. We get a brief glimpse at the very end of the series. I love him in Superman the Animated Series because, of course, when that was on, I was waiting for Batman all the time. I love him in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited because he's surrounded by all these other superheroes and he's not the primary focus. I even like him in Justice League the movie, again, because he's got the other guys and girls around him. Man of Steel, I actually don't mind that movie. It's dark, it's different. It's not the Superman we're used to. Which brings up the idea that everybody has their own idea of who Superman should be. Some people say, Christopher Reeves, he's my Batman. There are others that say, Henry Cavill's my Superman. Or maybe a couple people say, Brandon Roth is my Superman. But since I don't have the connection to Superman that a lot of other people do, I don't really care. I just want to have a good story, good characters, and at least the spirit of Superman there. Which is why when so many people crap on the CW version of Superman, I have to wonder why. Because to me, it's not a bad version of Superman. It's just another variation, and there's a lot of the essence of the character there. So that's why today we're going to look at CW's version of Superman. And I'm going to talk about why I think that while people can have their own opinions, I think that this version of Superman is actually not a bad one. For Fandom University, this is Defending CW Superman. For over 80 years, Superman has been a part of our culture. Not just pop culture, but our culture as a whole. Everybody knows the name. Everybody, to a certain extent, knows part of his origin since he premiered all those years ago back in Action Comics. Has he changed over time? Yes, but he has evolved with the times. He's always stood for truth, justice, and the American way. No matter what that might be at any point in time. Times change, and so does Superman. Every writer, artist, creator has come up with their own take on this character. But they've always kept, in some way, that essence of who Superman is. Now that essence could be different for everyone. Some people, it might just be the basic truth, justice, American way. Other people might see deeper about being from another planet, trying to be one of us, learn from us. Maybe people think it's even a take on our own humanity to make us look at ourselves. Whatever the case, there have been so many incarnations of Superman that you can't pick just one as the definitive version of Superman. Now, I'm sure you're saying, but such and such is my version of Superman. Christopher Reeve is my Superman. Henry Cavill is my Superman. That's fine, but they're your Superman. That doesn't mean that other people can't like other versions of the character, or that another version is less important or less of a Superman version than yours. Somebody might disagree with you and say, no, you're wrong. Now, I'm pretty sure that very few people would say this, but there might be somebody out there that says Christopher Reeve is the worst Superman ever. I don't know who, not me, but that's possible. For me, my version of Superman has to probably be the one that came out in the animated form right alongside Batman the Animated Series. That's the Superman I know. That's the voice I know. Those are the versions of the characters I know. I even like Tom Welling as Superman in Smallville because I like the idea of depowering Superman to the point that we focus more on him as a character, on him as a person learning to deal with these powers, that we don't deal with the whole godlike complex or whole godlike idea. I mean, you don't see the Superman suit till the very, very end of that series. But that's not to say that the George Reeves Superman from the serials is not a good one. Or, like I said, that Christopher Reeves is a bad one. Or Brandon Roth. Or Henry Cavill. Or anybody who's embodied Superman. But it seems like the one that people just can't seem to say is good in any way is the CW's version of Superman. And I have to ask why. Because like I've pointed out, there's been many, many incarnations. So this is just another incarnation of that character. With all these versions of Superman, Supergirl has been left in the dust. Because she probably has half the comics that Superman has. Sure, she's gone through a lot of incarnations like he has. But she's never really been at the forefront like Superman was. She was in 23 episodes of Smallville as a side character. We got that live action movie, which is definitely entertaining, but it's not necessarily the Supergirl that people love or even consider to be Supergirl. But she was also in the animated Superman show and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. She's in the games like Injustice, but that still does not match at all the level that Superman has had. So with this newest Supergirl CW show, I really like what they did. I like how they're bringing in Superman characters and they're introducing the world to villains and characters that are for Supergirl. The world now gets to see what Supergirl is capable of and just how great of a character she can be. So to me, it seemed inevitable that at some point Superman was going to come into the show. Though I will say, he definitely came in a lot sooner than I was expecting. And I think that the CW, maybe it's not the best version of Superman, but I don't think it's a bad version either. Like I said, it's just another incarnation. It's just another actor's, another writer's incarnation of the character. So to me, I don't see what the problem is with that. Not to mention, it is called Supergirl. It's not Superman, even though he is getting his own show now. From the very first episode of this show, we are told by Kara that she was supposed to protect Clark or Kal-El. But she arrived many years later and he already became Superman. So from the very first moment that this show began, we knew that he'd had adventures already before she even showed up, let alone before she grows up to become Supergirl. So there's a very high chance that he had many of those comic book adventures before Supergirl even showed up. Whether it was adventures with Lex, whether it was Bizarro, it could have been Brainiac. Maybe there was another version of Metallo. We don't know. Now, granted, as the seasons have gone on, we've gotten more and more clues as to things that did happen to him. But there's so many years that the show doesn't talk about that if you read something in the comics, maybe a version of it happened. There might have been a version of the death of Superman. We don't know. Especially now after Crisis on Infinite Earths, the whole history could have changed. Maybe something didn't happen on her Earth at one point, and now it did. It just shows that stuff happened to Superman that we don't know about. So you can't say that a story you love didn't necessarily happen on that Earth. And besides, like I said, the show is called Supergirl. It's her chance to shine. I always felt like this version of Superman was passing the torch to Kara to be the new protector of Earth. And as I was thinking about this, I couldn't help but draw similarities to another show that so many fans seem to like. And yet, I feel like it's very similar. That being Batman Beyond. In Batman Beyond, you have an older Bruce who has retired from being Batman. He's locked away. He has nothing to do with the world anymore. At least he doesn't want to. Then you have Terry McGinnis, who finds the Batsuit, takes over the role, and Bruce embraces him as the new Batman. So why is it that people accept that and like that version of Batman, even though it's not Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne's in a mentor role, but they can't get behind Superman in Supergirl, who basically is the exact same thing. He's an older, wiser version of the character. He's a mentor to Kara. He's passing the torch to her and saying, I did my time. Now it's time for you to pick up where I left off. He's not saying that she's better than him. He's not saying that he can't do this anymore. I feel like he's been looking for a reason to maybe put the cape on the back burner. It's clear when they're talking just between him, Kara, and Lois that he's been thinking about this. He wants to get away from it all. He wants to try and settle down with Lois, get married, have their child. And I can't say I fault him for that. He's been trying to balance these two sides of him for years. And maybe the human side of him is winning. Now, when people say he's left, he hasn't actually left Earth. He hasn't left the show, the series entirely. I mean, we're getting a Lois and Clark show with the exact same people. Now, granted, he did leave momentarily in the show, but he came back. The point is, he's still on Earth. He just doesn't want to have as big an active role as he used to. I think he's making it more as a compliment when he's saying that the Earth has their new protector in Kara. Because he's complimenting on her that she has not only become a great hero in her own right, but if you look at it, she might not have it completely balanced, but in his eyes, she has been able to balance the whole superhero secret identity thing better than he could, at least to him. And I like that about this Superman. I'm not one of these guys, like I said, who likes a Superman who's a god. I like characters to have problems, to have issues that they need to overcome, to prove that they're stronger than those issues and stronger than anything that might come their way. They prove that they're a hero for a reason. And if we're being honest, sometimes being a hero means knowing when to step back and let somebody else take the lead. He gave the Earth, he gave Metropolis his time. He's paid his due. He's done more than anybody could expect from him. Now it's Kara's turn. And I just feel like this is a Superman who knows when it's time to back off, when it's time to embrace the life he's earned. He's not perfect. And I like Superman that way. And I really think that that's what they did with this version. And I really like it. When it comes to the actual actor and actress playing Superman and Lois, Tyler and Elizabeth, I really think they bring something to these characters and they contribute to the lore of these two. There's nothing off about the characters to me. Like I mentioned, Tyler feels like an older, wiser version of Superman who's been around the block many times. Lois feels like a reporter who, just like Clark, has seen a lot. They've been through many, many experiences together. Some they might want to forget. But this is not a relationship. This is not a love or a marriage that just happened out of thin air. It grew over time. I can imagine these two, whether it's how they look right now or even a couple years younger, working at the Daily Planet, working as reporters, Clark being that clumsy oaf, and Lois being the rush around, go-getter reporter that everybody wanted to be. It just fits for me. And I really think it's because of these two actors and what they bring to the character. Like I said, you don't have to love them, but you have to think it is just another interpretation of the character. And I really do believe that Tyler brings a much older, wiser feel to his Superman. He's one that's, maybe he's gotten tired. He wants something more than just to be a hero for the world, which is why he's willing to train and pass the torch on to Kara. I would be remorsed if I didn't at least mention John Cryer's Lex Luthor, because I love him. He's so diabolical, so twisted, so intelligent. He plays everybody on the board. This feels like an amalgamation of Lex Luthor from the comics, from the animated show, from the animated movies, to the live-action movies themselves. This is a great version of Lex Luthor, and I love every time he's on screen. For the most part, with one or two small exceptions. But I really hope that we get to see John Cryer's Lex Luthor go up against Tyler's Superman in the new show, because I really want to see that matchup. And I can only imagine what their past battles must have been like. I think everyone overall in this show does a great job of portraying the characters that they're meant to portray. The looks are great, and I think the costume that they chose for Superman looks perfect. It feels very Superman. The moment you see it, you know that's Superman. It fits within this universe because it has that essence of Supergirl's, and maybe you can see that it came first within the story itself. But that's what's supposed to happen. And this Superman is not buff or, like, again, I keep saying godlike when it comes to strength. He's very trim but strong. And that is what I think works for this character. So while other people might say I'm wrong or disagree with me, I say, let's keep bringing on the CW Superman. Because I really like the way they're portraying him. And who knows? With the new show, we might see more things from the past. We might get to see things from the future that I really think will round out this version of the character. So, if you've watched CW Supergirl, or if you haven't, go check out 2 or 3 episodes with Superman in them. And this time, while you're watching, think about the suggestions and the ideas I've presented here. I think that if you do, you might be able to see this character and this version of Superman from a different point of view. I think you'll see that he is just as much Superman as any of the other versions we've gotten, whether it's been comics, video games, animation, or live action. This is another Superman, and we should all just embrace it. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. Tell me what you think of this version of Superman. Until next time, enjoy what you love, read what you love, and let's all work for a better fandom. I'll see you next time.